Well, I had a customer contact me the other day and said he wanted a simple little sign representing his time in the United States Air Force, and wanted to give one to his friend too as a Christmas gift, and wanted something like an airplane attached to it somehow. So I put together this simple little sign, and he seems to like it, so we're going to just cut this out this morning. And nothing complicated here, but I'm going to cut it out of cherry wood, and I've pieced the two together so I can get two signs with one cut. If you cut slowly and carefully, they will come out pretty nice. I put the green backing tape to hold the two together. Works very nicely. And then I use my glue stick to glue down the pattern to the green tape. Green tape makes it nice and easy to just peel that off later on down the road. What I got to do now is go over to my drill press and drill some entry holes for the saw blades, and then we'll take this and cut it out on the scroll saw. So I'll see you over at the scroll saw after I do that. Okay, over here at the scroll saw now, and I've cut out the little entry holes I'm going to need for my saw blades, and we can start cutting this out. It's a fairly simple cut, nothing complicated. I'll probably speed up the process so we don't bore you with all the little details. Well, as usual, I always forget a hole. I'll be drilling these holes out, of course, but everything will look fine. I'll look at it, study it. It seems great, no problem whatsoever. But I just noticed over here on the S, I could come up through here and cut that out, but that weakens it a little bit in that spot. So I think what I'm going to do is drill a hole there too, and just cut that out as a centerpiece. Okay, so we got a nice little hole in there now. It should be better for working with. Let's raise the head up here and make our first cut. I'm using a number 5 reverse tooth blade on my Excalibur saw. I put a new Pegasus head on here, of course, a while back, and makes tremendous improvement on it. So here we go. Alright, got that little piece cut out. Now, there are different ways of cutting to a point like that. I like to just go in and turn the blade around and move out. But you could make it an even sharper point if you want. I'm not a big fan of sharp points on anything in terms of signs, so I usually try to round it over if I can. And that's what I was doing with that one. Okay, let's do this inner piece that I just drilled the hole for. I'm going to stop it here for a moment. If you want to have a nice sharp point there, you can do that. I can make the turn here, and I would be satisfied with it. But some people like to have a real sharp point. So what you would do is cut up to the point where you want to remove this material, then back it up a bit. Back your blade up a bit. And then cut around here where the heavy material is, and work your way back in to go to that point. And it'll come out a real nice sharp point. Okay, you want to remove these pieces, by the way, because if you don't, they could get caught in the hole below and slow you up as you're working. All right, so we got a nice sharp point there in that turn. But as I said, you could do it either way, whatever way satisfies you. Now you just start up again. a blade break, which is no big deal. We'll just take that old blade out of there. Get a new one. Okay, we're going to have to replace this blade, obviously. Just, I like to work from the top here. Make sure you got the teeth facing the front. I use these Flying Dutchman blades, by the way. They're pretty good because you got a little notch up at the top here. It tells you which part of the blade is the top. Easy to make that mistake. Okay. Fasten it down below. Tighten up that little wing down there. Use a modified Steve Good type handle to help me handle these things with my hands. And I think we're all set. Now we can put this back in. Okay, now let's just go meet that part that we were working. Actually, we can probably just cut right across. There we go. Okay, we got the pieces of our puzzle here. Not really a puzzle, of course, but pieces of our sign. And you'll notice that at some points I did use that sharp cut. Other points I just simply went around. Between the two letters here, of course, you got a real sharp area. It's probably better if you did do that sharp cut rather than try to make the turn. Although it could be done, but depends on what you want to try for. So I did use it off and on, and you might find it useful. And as you can see, second sign is identical to the first one, and fairly easy way to get two signs out. Now you, of course, have to take your tape off. Got some off the back of this sign as well. Both sides. I don't know if you noticed it while I was cutting it, but when it comes to these little rockets on the side of the jet, what I decided to do was to make them a little bit thicker than they were on the pattern. And you shouldn't be afraid of editing as you're cutting, you know. Sometimes it's for the better. And I think they look a little bit better, and they're a little sturdier too. So if you were to hit the sign, it would they wouldn't break off. Now, this is going to be our base, as I said, or part of our base. So what we're going to do is take this off, first of all. It should peel off fairly easy once you got one side done. Now, I'm going to take that off of here. Yeah, there's going to be two top layers of the bases. Now these are going to go on top of another piece of wood, a solid base. Probably different colored wood, maybe a walnut, something like that, a darker wood. And we're going to shape these on the sander, and we're going to round over the edges on the router. And they'll look pretty good when we're done. Okay, now these have to be sanded down a bit. They're a little bit rough where we did the resawing. So what we're going to do is take these to the bench sander, the belt sander, and we're going to work them over on there and also on the mop sander and clean them up a little bit. Okay, I just realized I forgot to record how I sanded all these down on the belt sander. Basically, it's just a matter of turning your belt sander on and running these over the top to smooth out the edges, the sides. But on the disc sander, we're going to use this to fix up these top layers of the base. I want to get up some rounded edges. So we're going to, while the sander is turning, we're going to shape these by hand. It's all done by eye, actually. No measurements necessary. Okay, we got a nice round edge now on this instead of a square point. You could have left it square, depends on what you want. My objective is to get them round though, and that's what we've done. Okay, now over to the mop sander. Okay, this is the mop sander, or what's left of it I should say. Getting down, gonna have to get a new set of pads for it, but I thought we would use it. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. What you want to do is run your sign over it very lightly as it's spinning. You don't want to press too hard because you could snap something off here. If you handle it very lightly, it'll take all the fuzzies off the edges. I have a foot pedal down here which I use. Okay, we're over here at the router now, table router. And what I want to do is run the edges all along here, 1/4 inch bit, to just round over the edges and make it look a little pretty. It should look pretty good when we're all done. Okay, we got these cut out, or trimmed out I should say, around the edges. Now we got to smooth it out with a sander. If you don't have a router, by the way, you could use a sander to do this instead. Take a little bit longer, but it wouldn't give you this nice little groovy look to it. We have a little bit of a cutout here, which is not too much of a problem because you can hit the sander on that and smooth those over. I'm going to go do these on the mop sander and see you back at the bench. Okay, got all the pieces together here now. I cut out a couple of slabs of walnut, sanded them down, rounded over the edges just by rubbing them on the sander, and they seem pretty good. Put them over the sand flea that I got. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take this top layer of the base and put it like this. It's going to be glued to the top part. I don't measure anything, I just usually eyeball it. And then, of course, we're going to take the actual sign itself and put it so that each of the ends will span those pieces. Makes them look like waves or clouds in the sky, and I think it gives it a nice effect on the total sign. I did notice, however, I have a little bit of a blemish here. I'm going to have to sand that out. Okay, I sanded that blemish out. Looks a little better now. I'm going to take my glue. I use Tight Bond. Any good wood glue will do the job. On the back of it, you don't need a lot. Enough to dress it up and stick it down. Okay. Just sort of eyeball it here so that it's centered. Put that down. And then take our sign and put a little bit of glue on the back of that. You don't need to go all the way across, but I will. I'm not exactly sure where that centerpiece is, but you're never going to see that anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then we just put it right down here. And on top of it, again, I'm centering it. So it looks pretty good. There we go. Now, of course, we want to clamp these down. Okay, I took the signs outdoors and gave them a good finishing. And so the project is complete, and we have a nice United States Air Force sign with a jet logo on it. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, click the like button down below and be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to get a copy of this, if you'd like to get a pattern for this sign, you can click the link down below, which will bring you to some of my military sign eBooks, and this will be a part of it. And you might find some use for some of the other ones as well. Thank you for watching.